We have certainly learned a lot during the COVID pandemic phase, during the last 2 years. And what we have really learned is to become more flexible. The dilemma we were faced with was to, on one side, protect the health of our employees while ensuring the service delivery and at the same time minimizing financial consequences for the company. It was certainly a difficult task. Flexibility was the key word. For example, when it comes to rostering, we have found ways with our social partner to adapt the rosters at short notice because there was a lot of volatility in the air traffic. This is something we are still doing today. What we have learned during COVID has been kept today. Another example is on the training side, where obviously we didn't have enough air traffic in the operation to train our people. So we had to send the trainees, the ATCO trainees, back home, and we provided some remote training facilities where they could simulate and train while staying at home. And this is something that even today we are still using. It's basically what we have learned from the COVID phase in terms of flexibility and things we are still using today. The aviation industry has always been confronted with regular crises. Every now and then a new crisis comes, and more will come also in the future. We don't know exactly which case we will be faced with, but we know we need to be prepared for this. And that's one of the learning of the past crises we've experienced in the last years, is that you need to be really prepared to face them. One thing is on your crisis organization, you need to have good processes in place, and also you need to train them regularly to be up to speed when it comes to a real crisis. This is certainly a big learning. The other thing is also that you need to give responsibility at the proper level in the organization. During the COVID pandemic crisis, Skyguide Executive Board transferred its power to a so-called pandemic task force, who was responsible to manage the pandemic-related elements. At the same time, the Executive Board could focus on the more strategic elements. That was really a big success. When it comes to the operation, you need to be ready with contingency plans, with emergency checklists, to face any kind of disruption you might experience. And here you also need to be ready. You need to train that from time to time. I think that's the big learning. Be ready, be flexible when the next crisis will come. The discussions at Airspace World were very interesting. And actually, I noticed a lot of similarities with neighboring ANSPs I talked to, in terms of how we managed the crisis and the issues we are faced with. Basically, what we are all lacking is flexibility. Examples are the rosters, where we would need more flexibility, and also the training and licensing elements, which are sometimes a bit unflexible. The way we have managed this in the past, the changes in air traffic demand, was to add or to remove air traffic controllers, but it takes a lot of time. It's always too late when you are with the right number of ATCOs. So the learning is that we need to do things differently. We need a paradigm shift in order to be able to react much more quickly to the demands of our customers. One way to do that is the way that Skyguide is currently investing in, is the virtual center, where basically by having location-independent operations between our two sites, we will be able to accommodate the changes in traffic demand in a more flexible manner. And I've noticed during the talks at Airspace World that actually the other ANSPs are very keen, very interested in what we are doing, so they have a lot of interest in our virtual center program.